which I'm gonna have to bring it here for the gala.
In my statutes, and you will keep my judgments and do them. Then you shall dwell in the land that I gave to your fathers. You shall be my people, and I will be your Elohim.
Now we have the 10 words being recited by Don Shashimar, the 10 Commandments.
Special, I'll be reciting the vote coming by chapter 20, 1 to get off reciting the vote. Chapter 27. Now he spoke all these words, saying, I am Yahweh that Elohim brought me out of the land of Egypt out of the house of God. Thou shalt have no other Elohim. Not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, that is in earth beneath, that is in the waters under them. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them nor serve it. For I Yahweh that Elohim, jealous, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children of the third and fourth generation of the hate. Showing mercy unto thousands that love me, keep my commandments. I shall not take the name of Yahweh that Elohim in vain. For Yahweh will not hold him guiltless at taking his name in vain. Remember the Shabbat day and keep it set apart. 6 days should I lay Shabbat day of Yahweh that Elohim. In it thou shalt not do any work. Thou nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is with thy gate. For 6 days Yahweh made the heaven, the earth, the sea, and all the ends of it. Wherefore Yah bless the Shabbat day and holiday. Honor thy father and thy mother, that the days may be long upon the land. Yahweh that Elohim given. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not cover thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not cover thy wife, nor his manservant, nor his maid, nor that, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Shema Yisrael. Echad. Wayahabta et Yahuwah Elaheka Beko Lebabka Ubeko Nefeshka Ubeko Meodika. Hear and obey Yisrael. Yahuwah is our El, Yahuwah is one. And you shall love Yahuwah your Elohim with all of your heart, with all of your soul, and with all of your might. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Now we're going to our HalaYah portion, which is the time that we give praise and honor. Well, pretty much your and esteem to him. And that's preceded by my hallelujah belongs to you.
My hallelujah
Belongs to you. My hallelujah belongs to you. My hallelujah belongs to you. My hallelujah belongs to you. And you deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it. My hallelujah. My hallelujah. My hallelujah. My hallelujah. To you. Come on, my hallelujah. My hallelujah. To you. That's what my hallelujah. My hallelujah. To you. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Now, is there anyone with the HalaYah? Anything you want to give praise to the Creator for? Anything He has revealed to you to reveal to us? Or any way you would like to express yourself, now is the time to do so. Hallelujah.
I got one.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to give praise to the Most High Yah for just for life. And safe travels not only for myself, but for everyone here. I also want to, just praise the Most High for the good and the bad, the Tov and the Raw. Because I thank the Most High a lot for the good things in my life, but now I'm more mature, so I'm thanking Him for the bad thing. Because bad can be chastisement or it can be something that the Most High using as a test to build me up for to be a righteous man. So I want to say HalaYah and Shabbat Shalom.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Shalom.
Anyone else with a hallelujah?
All right. Shabbat shalom, Mishpachah.
Shalom.
Shabbat shalom, Mishpachah.
Shabbat shalom.
Giving all praise, honor, and esteem to the Most High Yah for another day, seeing you all, having you all come out and observe this feast day. The Most High is gracious, He is merciful. In spite of our errors and what we do, He still loves us. You know? So I give a HalaYah to the Most High for life, health, and strength. And I yield HalaYah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Giving all honor and praise and esteem to the Most High Yah, creator of heaven, earth, seas, and all that there is. Bid everyone Shabbat shalom at all. Good to see everyone. Safe and traveling mercy. Okay, and I'm saying in the same vein, giving honor and esteem to the creator for life, strength. I'm kind of moving with the time, so thanking the Most High for dedication. And for me, reels, and one of the reels I seen was talking about sacrifice and the things that come with that. It was more or less leaning on the dedication portion of it. God, for this portion of my life, is that if you're dedicated to something, you have to relinquish a lot in order to truly glean and dwell with the Creator. So again, moving with the times, we're coming up on a season of dedication, was also called for us to start relinquishing things in our lives to get closer to our Elohim. So I thank the Most High for strength in even doing so. So that's my HalaYah. And again, Shabbat shalom.
Yeah.
Here not to give a hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Okay, hallelujah. I just want to give all praise, honor, and esteem to the Most High, creator of all, giver and sustainer of life. As Shah said, the one who gets us through both the Tov or the good and the Ra or the bad, or that which is perceived as bad. HalaYah for safe travels for all of you. For my Isha or my wife and all that she does, and preparing and working and really being everything that I need in the flesh to create. So for hard times, for tests and trials, HalaYah. Yeah, that's the only way you know that you're growing, and which we'll talk about in the Torah portion there. So I'll just leave that. But just Torah for seeing all y'all, for my brothers, my sisters, the family. It's all about family. It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure. So I just say HalaYah for all of you, and I pray that everybody enjoys their time here. Amen.
Hallelujah.
Anyone else with a hallelujah?
Shabbat shalom.
I just want to give praise to the Most, be physically present here and to just actually meet some of the people that we've spoken with online and have been fellowshipping with. And yeah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Hallelujah. Anyone else with a hallelujah?
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat
shalom.
shalom.
Hey.
Praise Yah. Give praise Yah for just big traveling mercy.
Okay.
And just something that Yah blessed me with, studying and dedication, tearing down the polluted altar and raising back pure altar to offer pure sacrifice. Same thing. Altar of our mind.
Amen.
Tearing down all the pollutions that we obtained all these years and allowing y'all to build back up pure altars. So we don't put that.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Amen, Akem. Amen. Hallelujah. Anyone else with the hallelujah? Yeah. That's cool. Y'all will be okay. Y'all will get loose by the end of this service, so y'all be just fine. Speaking of which, that's fine. Y'all don't have to do individual HalaYah, so we're gonna do it collectively. So we're about to do praise and worship. So let us stand as we give honor and praise to the Most High Yah. Oh, we got 10 to read this, so we don't want to go. Put up there. You can go as far.
Okay. Hey. Keep us in your hands and under your wings. Keep us in your hands and under your wings. Keep us in your hands and under your wings. Keep us in your hands and under your wings. Keep us in your hands and under your wings. Keep us in your hands and under your wings. There is no Savior but God.
One more time, sis.
Keep us in your hands and under. Keep us in your hands and under your wings.
Keep us in your hands.
Keep us in your hands and under your wings.
For there is no Savior.
There is no Savior but Yahuwah.
You see me, redeeming. You freed me out of the dark. You hold me. You lead me. You see me. You see me. As long as I was dead. When I fought, my response. Keep us in your hands.
And under your wings.
Family, can we clap, please?
Keep us in your hands. And under.
For there is no Savior.
There's no Savior but Yahuwah.
One more time, keep us in your hands. Oh, yeah.
Keep us in your hands. And under your wings.
Oh, yeah, for you are so.
Keep us in your hands.
And under your wings. Keep us in your hands.
Keep us in your hands. And under your wings.
There's no Savior. Come on.
There's no Savior but Yahuwah.
There is no
Savior but Yahuwah.
last time. There is no Savior, but
There is no Savior but Yahuwah.
hallelujah. 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 Amen. Amen.
I surrender all to you. Everything I give to you. Withholding nothing. Withholding nothing. I surrender to you. And to you. Withholding nothing. Withholding nothing. In my heart to you, I give my heart. I give my heart to you. I give my heart to you. I give my heart to you.
Yeah.
I give my heart to you. I give myself away. I give myself away. So you can use me. I give myself away.
I'm sure y'all know the song. Come on now. So you
Can use me? Here I am. Here I
oh yeah.
am.
Your desire.
Your desire.
So I give.
I give myself away. So you can use me. I give myself away. Oh yeah. I give myself away. So you can use me.
Take my
My take my
there's a little bit.
dreams that fly. Oh, dream.
Yes.
I give myself away.
Come on, I give.
I give myself away. So you
I give myself. Come on.
I give oh yeah. I give myself away. So you
My life is not my own. So you are alone. So I
give myself.
say my life is not my own. Hallelujah. Come on. So
I give myself. Give myself to you.
one more time, my life is not my own. Sing it to him. To you, oh yeah.
I give myself. I give myself to you.
My life, you said what?
My life is not mine.
Hallelujah. Live a sacrifice. So yeah.
I give myself.
What you
I
do?
give myself to you.
I give myself away.
I give myself away. Thank you.
Last time again.
I gave myself on so you.
Hallelujah. 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 Okay. You ready to talk? Oh, that's great. Can I get the speaker to check out the speaker? You want to just play it on your phone, Kyle? You want to play it on yours since it's already hooked up? So I can just- Mm. I said, what? Hallelujah. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. It's on now. Hallelujah. It's on. Oh, slightly.
Work it out from my you too much. Too much. Too much to ask. Too much. You love me too much. I just love you. Thank you for loving me too much. Unconditionally, love. Thank you for loving me too much. Thank you for loving me too much. Unconditional. Thank you for loving me too much. You for loving me. Why would I have been? Why would I have been without you? You love me too much. Oh God, come there. Not in you be. You are A to Z and everything in between. I'm myself. Now you be the most high. Ezekiel, a dear Ezekiel. I'm myself. Now you be the most high. Ezekiel, a dear Ezekiel. Now standing here only because you made. Now standing here only because you made. Now standing here only because you made a way.
Yeah.
Hallelujah. Yeah. Hallelujah. We honor you, Almighty. We worship you. We worship you.
We worship you.
Almighty. The Father. We give you praise.
We give you praise.
Almighty.
We are ready.
We are.
We are grateful.
We are.
We are grateful. We are grateful.
We honor you. Come on.
We honor you.
Almighty.
We worship your name.
Worship you.
We worship you.
Almighty. The Father.
We magnify our praise.
Give you praise.
We give you praise. Without hands of love, we are ready. We are grateful.
We are.
We are grateful. We are grateful.
Truth.
True.
What?
Guide the world.
Today. The body. Can we just have
We are ready. We are grateful.
we
We are great. We are grateful
For your love,
for your love,
truth,
for your truth,
your word,
day
day to day,
today.
come to heaven.
We are great. We are grateful. We are great.
We are
grateful.
one more time, we are,
We are great.
we are
grateful.
That's right there, we are.
We are great. We are grateful.
Hallelujah. 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 All right. So for all those who are new, this is a taller response. So y'all just repeat after me, and then at the end, y'all catch on to the other part. All right, cool. What a wonderful thing y'all do for me.
What a wonderful day I do for me.
What a wonderful thing I do for you.
What a wonderful day I do for you.
What a wonderful thing y'all do for me.
What a wonderful day I do for you.
What a wonderful thing I do for you.
What a wonderful day I do for you.
Lord,
You love me.
joy,
You don't.
peace.
Peace to be.
So give thanks. Give thanks to praise. Give thanks to praise. Come on. What a wonderful thing y'all do for me.
What a wonderful day I do for you.
What a wonderful thing y'all do for you.
What a wonderful day I do for you.
What a wonderful thing y'all do for me.
What a wonderful day I do for you.
What a wonderful thing y'all do for you.
What a wonderful day I do for
We
you.
give you love.
You love me.
We joy.
You don't.
Peace.
See,
He gives us. So give thanks to praise. Do the Lord. Give thanks to
we say the prayer.
give thanks to
Give thanks to prayer. Thank the prayer.
praise. One more time, we say, what a wonderful thing y'all do for me.
What a wonderful day I do for you.
What a wonderful thing y'all do for you.
What a wonderful day I do for you.
What a wonderful thing y'all do for me.
What a wonderful day I do for me.
What a wonderful thing y'all do for you.
What a wonderful day I do for you.
Lord,
You can be loved.
just
You can be joy.
repeat.
You can be free.
Hallelujah. 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 All right. All right. We can be seated. We can be seated. 1 second to get some water and probably try to cut down this heat, and then we're gonna get into the portion. Outside the building, anybody can want water? I'm not gonna wait. Not gonna wait. All right, good. All right, shalom, Mr. McCall. We got prepare to get into Torah. Yeah. I'll let them know that it's all. Y'all be up here next time. We say, oh, it's your hand. All right, so Ms. McCall, we'll be going into the Torah portion. So for those who read the Torah portions, we are, well, for those who do and who don't, we are in the book of Genesis, chapter 37. Bereshit, commonly called Genesis chapter 37. This portion is called Vayeshev. Vayeshev. Which means and he settled. All right. For those who may not read this, for those who may not be reading the Torah portions, right? Can somebody who has been reading the Torah portions, or maybe you just know Torah, where are we in this particular portion? Like, what has happened up to this portion? This is Genesis chapter 37. So, well, so let's kind of narrow it down. In the life of Yaakov or Jacob, what has happened up to this point in Genesis 37? If anybody's able to know, okay, all right, no problem. So pop quiz, that's fine. All right. Jacob left home to go work for who? Nobody on stage can answer. Imam Matanel, you can't answer either. Okay. Huh? Lebanon is a place, but close. He went to go work for who? Jacob? Huh? Who? Which, you sure? No, I'm just making sure you're sure. You gotta be sure. Yeah. Laban, right? Okay, Laban. So I know, yeah, exactly. I'm making sure you're sure. All right, so he went to go work for Laban. Okay, he went to go work for Laban. Why?
For his wife.
Because his mom sent him there.
And why did his mom send him there? Aaliyah? Well, that was the cover-up answer. So what was the real answer on why? Yes, and who is Jacob's brother? Okay, I'm just making sure we catching up. All right, so Jacob goes to what's his name again? Laban. All right, just making sure y'all catch. All right, so we went to Laban's house and he worked how many years for who first? He worked 7 years for who? For Raquel. Okay, so he worked 7 years for Raquel. He got tricked and got who?
Yeah.
Okay, so then he had to work what else? Okay, so that's 14 years. And then he had two other wives named not Bina. I do know a Bina, but it ain't her. He worked and got two more wives. Who were they? Bilhah and Zilpah. I'm going to disqualify this middle section if Iman's gonna stay there and just give answers. All right, so Bilhah and Zilpah, right? All right, so bonus question for the middle section. Bilhah was whose handmaid? Okay, Aaliyah. Okay, Bilhah was Raquel's handmaid, and Zilpah was whose handmaid? Okay, all right, cool. We catching up. We just catching everybody up who doesn't read the Torah portion, right? All right, so right, both of them are married. Leah has how many children?
Altogether or just right? Altogether.
Out of the 12, well, out of the 13 children, right? Hint, out of 13 children, Leah has how many? Nope. No, I'm talking about from her womb, she had how many children?
Oh, she had 1, 2, 3, 4, and then she had 2 boys and a girl. But she had 8.
No, she had, Mama, you just counted that on your finger. Count that again, please.
1, 2, 3, 4, and the 2 boys.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Yeah, so she has seven. Seven. Yeah, I'm just making sure y'all awoke. All right, so she has 7 children. And then Zilpah, Bilhah, and Raquel had how many? A piece. Okay, 2 apiece, exactly, right? Because Raquel had Jacob and Benjamin, Joseph and Benjamin, and then the other ones had some other children, because I don't know who mama is who. I don't know that one. All right, so boom. 20, oh, dang, I almost gave the answer away. So then he works how many years total for Laban? 20 years for Laban, and then he leaves, right? He leaves, and then he meets who? On the road. His brother, whose name is what?
Esau.
Okay, just making sure y'all know y'all uncle name. So then he meet Uncle Esau, and then him and Esau do what? What do they do together? They hug, they embrace, they make a covenant, right? Pretty much a peace covenant between each other, because there's no more fighting. Yes, Ariel? I'm pretty sure that they do eat. Oh, are y'all answering in the okay, Azar? You disqualified too. All right, so all right, boom. So now after the covenant is made, Esau and Jacob, they chilling, they go their separate ways. Esau goes where? Esau go to his mountain, which is Mount. Not Sinai. Sinai is the creators. Seir, right? Seir. I saw your hand up. You was gonna answer if I called on you. Yeah, Mount Seir. So he goes there. Jacob goes to Sukkot, right? Because he's the first one that does Sukkot, or the Feast of Tabernacles. All right. So then, boom. After that, right? Then they end up in Shechem. What happens in Shechem? Now, just for the record, right? My brothers are here. Y'all are very, very quiet, and my sisters in these yellow dean, they answer all the questions. Now, if you're new, you are excused. If you're new, you are excused from history class. However, I'm just putting that nugget out there. What happened in Shechem? Yes. No, I can't. Well, yeah, I'm gonna give you a hint. Something happens to one of Leah's children.
Oh.
You said who? Okay, thank you, Azar. You don't even want to type it in chat. What happened to Dina? Oh, who? Which one? What happened? What happened to Dina?
She got kidnapped.
She didn't. Well, she didn't. It's kind of that way. She didn't necessarily get kidnapped. She got, huh?
She got violated.
Yeah, she got violated. The R word is not correct. But by the way, you don't have to put that in. Okay. It was not the R word for the adults, or for anybody who knows the story of Dina. It was not the R word. She got manipulated because she was naive. Just keep it at that. All right. So then she gets manipulated, and then Shechem is like, yo, I really like her. Pops, can you go talk to her pops? And maybe we can work something out. And the sons say what? We will give you our sister on what condition?
Give us your.
Okay, that you and all your men are circumcised. They get circumcised, and then what happens? Yes. Who gets slain? All the men get slain. By who? What 2 brothers started it off? No, mama. What 2 brothers? They angry. Jacob cursed their anger. No, but Reuben, we are going to talk about him in a second. Who you got? Go. It's not Reuben. Go ahead. Who? So
And then,
See, you can't even cheat right. That's why you supposed to say. That's why you tell the truth. You don't. That's why you don't cheat. What you say?
Levi's.
Hey, good job, Levi and Simeon. Now y'all did a better job cheating over there, even though I saw it. But okay, so Levi and Simeon, right? So Levi and Simeon, they go through the hood, they wipe out everybody, they take the women, they take the children, they take the spoils because they maimed all the cattle because something wrong with them. All right, so boom. All right, now we are where we are now. Yes, there we go. Huh?
You're talking about the circumcision.
Yeah, they were circumcised.
They were circumcised first. And then on the third day, when
Okay.
they pain.
Okay.
On the level.
Because it hurts. So while they were hurt and they couldn't move, Shimeon and Levi went through and put everybody to the sword. All right, so now everyone's caught up, right? Everybody know where we at? All right, cool. All right, so now let's go to Genesis chapter 37. So as you're reading this portion, right, there are two things that kind of stuck out to me, right, in terms of the framework of this particular portion for this year, because we read it every year. One is captivity, and the other is family. So this portion is really about family, and it's about captivity and where we are today. So we're going to read through. I'm going to ask questions just like I was doing. It's interactive. If you have questions that are based on this or close to it, then we can dialogue and have a conversation. Told? Everybody cool? All right, okay. HalaYah. Go ahead, Aki.
Bereshit, commonly called Genesis chapter 37, starting at verses 1. It reads, Now Yaakov dwelt in the land where his father was a stranger, in the land of Canaan. This is the history of Yaakov. Yosef, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brothers, and the lad was with the sons of Bilhah and the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Yosef brought a bad report of them to his father. Now Yisrael loved Yosef more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age. Also, he made him a tunic of many colors. But when his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all his brothers, they hated him and could not speak peaceably to him.
Okay, pause right there, Aki. These four verses pretty much give you they give you a framework about why everything else is about to happen in this portion. The first verse, I want you to picture, this is Israel in the promised land. Israel, all 12, are dwelling in the promised land right now, right? So that's the setting. Think about it, same way we dwelt in the promised land. A great teacher once told me you can find everything that you need to about Tanakh in Genesis. Everything about Tanakh, which is the Old Testament, is in Genesis, right? This is our captivity and why we got kicked out the land. Now we're going to talk about why we got kicked out the land in this one chapter, right? But in these four verses, it said Israel dwelt in the land of his father, Isaac, right? In the land of Canaan. And then Jacob, this is the line of Jacob. Now, usually when it says that, it's talking about the person that carries the torch next, right? So Joseph is the one that carries the torch next. And it said that he was a helper to the sons of his father's wife, Bilhah and Zilpah. And Joseph brought bad reports of them to their father. Now, is that a good thing? So children, and parents, right? Well, parents, I'll ask y'all. Do y'all have do y'all have a snitch in your households? Like a child that just snitch on everything?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. They always tell it on their siblings, right? Okay, cool. I want y'all to hold that person in mind. Now, is that your favorite? Well, y'all don't have to nod. Just blink twice if yes. Is that your favorite one? Usually, right? In this case, we have to look at the entire context. Now, Joseph is whose son? Jacob and who? Jacob and Raquel. Raquel is what? Where is she at right now in this point in the story? She's what? Where is Rachel? Yes? She dead.
Right.
Oh, I didn't hear. Yes. Yeah, okay. Oh, she said buried. I ain't know what he said. I was like, what? Well, okay, yes, she's buried in the path between, right? So Raquel, Joseph's mother, is gone. Right? Joseph is the oldest or the firstborn of her. So in mourning, he draws near to the one who is said that looks like Raquel. Joseph supposedly looks just like Raquel. So this is his favorite. Now, on top of him being the firstborn of the most loved wife, he's given bad reports of 4 of the other brothers, right? So you also have to think of all 12. So Reuben did what? Remember I said we were going to talk about Reuben. Reuben did what already? Reuben slept with his stepmother, Bilhah. So Reuben is already on bad terms. Shimeon and Levi did what? They just slaughtered a whole bunch of people, so they're already on bad terms. And now Bilhah and Zilpah's children, which is 4 boys, right? Joseph, which is Jacob's favorite, he's telling them bad reports and defaming their name, right? So it's not just a report. So think about your children, right? For those who have children as of right now, your children, and you have one who not only comes and tells you what their siblings are doing, but they throw a little extra up there. They're like, yeah, they was jumping on the bed and they was cussing at the same time. Oh, mom, and I told them sit down, and they said they don't care what you say. They are adding on to the story so that you get more and more angry at them, at the children they're talking about, and then you like them more. So they're adding on to the fuel, which would do what? So for the children, question for you now. If your brother or sister always told on you and they were lying sometimes, how would that make you feel toward them? Aaliyah, you said angry, Aaliyah?
I would not want to talk to them anymore.
Just
like I don't trust them.
Yep, you don't trust them. Taylor?
I probably try to
Okay, so you would try to play detective on them. Go ahead.
I'll just be mad and
I got track. Go ahead.
and I kind of like really happy.
You would try to, but they're already the favorite. Go ahead. You'll be disappointed. Exactly, especially if it's your younger brother. Remember, it's only one brother younger than Joseph, and that's Benjamin. So think about your little brother telling on you all the time. He's the favorite. He getting all the cookies. He get to stay up late with mommy. He going to the store with daddy. Everything. And the parents, you're making this very, very obvious that you like him more. So all your children run and say good morning to you, and you smash all they had until you get to the favorite. That's what you're doing. That's what they're seeing. And this is their younger brother. Their younger brother, and you taking them out. They get twice as many fries whenever y'all go to, go out, whatever y'all doing. This is your favorite. And now all your brothers and sister, everybody's seeing that. And now you're adding on to the fuel. The child is by telling you things about those children that's not necessarily true. So this is the context of what's going on in the household. You got mothers sleeping with sons. You got brothers who don't like each other. You got the father that's mourning. This is the context of Israel there in the story and here right now. The house is chaotic. It said he is the son of his old age, which means that he pretty much taught him everything that he knows. Go ahead, Akem.
Verse 5. Now Joseph had a dream, and he told it to his brothers, and they hated him even more. So he said to them, please hear this dream which I have dreamed. There we were, binding sheaves in the field. Then behold, my sheep arose and also stood upright. And indeed, your sheep stood all around and bowed down to my sheep. And his brothers said to him, shall you indeed reign over us? Or shall you indeed have dominion over us? So they hated him even more for his dreams and for his words. Then he dreamed still another dream and told it to his brothers and said, look, I have dreamed another dream. And this time the sun, the moon, and the 11 stars bowed down to me. So he told it to his father and his brothers. And his father rebuked him and said to him, what is this dream that you have dreamed? Shall your mother and I and your brothers indeed come to bow down to the earth before you? And his brothers envy him, but his father kept the matter in mind.
Okay, hold on, okay. I know you're trying to read all fast, so I don't tell you stop, but I'm gonna tell you stop anyway. Okay, all right, verse 5 to 11. So y'all got the backdrop that the household right now is on fire. So now Joseph, who already really is he's really prideful, and he's really, if this is your sibling, you are very annoyed with him. You are very annoyed with him. Now imagine you working in the field, because Joseph doesn't work. Joseph does not work. He's 17. He doesn't work. Everybody else is working. Joseph he's like the overseer. Yes. Because he's the favorite. So it's just like your dad telling you that you got to do all the chores, but Anaya doesn't have to do anything. And then the next day, right? Anaya comes. This is Joseph. Hey, bro, guess what? I had a dream. And in this dream, right, it was me, it was you, it was Benjamin, it was all y'all. And I was high and you were low. And then the next day he comes right again and be like, guess what? I had another dream. The Most High told me it was the sun, the moon, and the stars, and all of them will bow down to me this time. But it said he kept dreaming. He didn't just have 2 dreams. This was a continuous, hey, bro, guess what I had?
What's that?
While you working, you're working, I come up to you with some water and some sunflower seeds, like, guess what? I had a dream. I had a dream. You want some water? You good?
Appreciate you, bro.
No, okay, cool. You had a dream that you, Pops, Mom, all y'all bow down to me. And now Dad hears it, and he tries to make a scene, but we all know, we can see through the fact that he understands that this is true. He understands this is true because that's the son I'm giving everything to. I'm prophetic. Remember, I saw the ladder. I saw the angels going up and down the ladder. I talked to Elohim on the mountain. Yes, Ariel. What old man? All of them are blessed, which is what I was coming to next. So thank you for that transition. They knew what these dreams meant without anybody telling them. So all of them are prophetic. Every one of Jacob's children understood, oh, you said you're going to rule over us, huh? So not only are you doing it now and you get on my nerves, you said in the future, I'm going to bow down to you.
Okay.
And then you telling me again, and now you talk about my mama? Your mama dead. You talking about my mama? Now my mama going to bow down to you. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Catch you outside. That's cool. I'm going to catch you. And now the father knows, and now he sees it, and he keeps it to heart. But once again, he never tells Joseph to chill out. When you have a favorite and everybody knows it, and all you do is continue to inflate their head, all you're doing is causing trouble for the next generation when you're not here. Remember Esau, he said, the days of my dad's mourning is at hand. So as soon as Pop's gone, as soon as the one that protected you is going, I'm going to get at you. This is what's going on in this house. So parents, y'all, you have to have a balance. Yeah, the Most High has people that he picks out, that he favors. But that doesn't mean that he doesn't allow them to flaunt it in the faces of others. For he said, I'm going to humble those who exalt themselves. So Jacob is doing the same thing that his father did to his brother. Because Isaac did the same thing to Esau, right? Isaac didn't correct Esau. He let him marry 2 Canaanite women. He let him not study with Abraham. It said that his eyes grew dim, which wasn't necessarily him going blind. It was his eyes growing dim to the point of not seeing what his son was doing. The same thing is said of Eli. His eyes grow dim. So when you turn your eyes away from what's happening in your household, fathers, it's your household. How do you not see the imbalance in your house? How do you not see that your children really don't like each other? And you don't try to do anything to help that. So that's what's going on. So now the dreams happen. Jacob keeps it in mind, but he doesn't tell him to chill. So then, you having all those dreams. Now what happened?
Verse 12. Then his brothers went to feed their father's flock in Shechem. And Yisrael said to Joseph, are not your brothers feeding the flock in Shechem? Come, I will send you to them. So he said to him, here I am. Then he said to him, please go and see if it is well with your brothers and well with the flocks, and bring back word to me. So he sent him out of the valley of Hebron, and he went to Shechem. Now a certain man found him, and there he was, wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying, what are you seeking? So he said, I am seeking my brothers. Please tell me where they are feeding their flocks. And the man said, they have departed from here, for I heard them say, let us go to Dothan. So Joseph went after his brothers and found them in Dothan. Now when they saw him afar off, even before he came near them, they conspired against him to kill him. Then they said to one another, look, this dreamer is coming. Come, therefore, let us now kill him and cast him into some pit. And we shall say, some wild beast has devoured him. We shall see what will become of his dreams. But Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands and said, let us not kill him. And Reuben said to them, shed no blood, but cast him into this pit, which is in the wilderness, and do not lay a hand on him, that he might deliver him out of their hands and bring him back to his father. So it came to pass, when Joseph had come to his brothers, that they stripped Joseph of his tunic, the tunic of many colors that was on him. Then they took him and cast him into a pit, and the pit was empty. There was no water in it, and they sat down to eat a meal. Then they lifted their eyes and looked, and there was a company of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead with their camels, bearing spices, balm, and myrrh, on their way to carry them down to Egypt. So Judah said to his brothers, what profit is there if we kill our brother and conceal his blood? Come and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh. And his brothers listened. Then Midianite traders passed by. So the brothers pulled Joseph up and lifted him out of the pit, and sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 shekels of silver. And they took Joseph to Egypt. Then Reuben returned to the pit, and indeed Joseph was not in the pit. And he tore his clothes, and he returned to his brothers and said, the lad is no more. And where shall I go? So they took Joseph's tunic, killed a kid of the goats, and dipped the tunic in the blood. Then they sent the tunic of many colors, and they brought it to their father and said, we have found this. Do you know whether it is your son's tunic or not? And he recognized it and said, it is my son's tunic. A wild beast has devoured him. Without doubt, Joseph is torn to pieces. Then Jacob tore his clothes, put sackcloth on his waist, and mourned for his son many days. And all his sons and all his daughters arose to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. And he said, for I shall go down into the grave to my son in mourning. Thus his father wept for him. Now the Midianites had sold him in Egypt to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh and captain of the guard.
Okay, so that's in chapter 37, right? So, yes, Mama.
Hey, when he said his children tried to come to him, you think that meant Benjamin also? Because you gotta remember, when they ran out of food for the famine, that he didn't want to send Benjamin.
Yeah.
Y'all can go, but you can't take my Benjamin. Would you think Benjamin was able to give you comfort?
Love.
Probably not.
Joseph was really the golden boy.
Okay.
So when you get to the aspect of the famine, now Joseph has been gone for some years now. And Benjamin is still son of Raquel, probably still look like him. And so this is the only piece that I have that reminds me of the wife that I love.
Okay.
But at this point, it's all about Joseph.
Okay.
So even Benjamin, because remember, Joseph said 11 stars. So that included Benjamin. And also, we don't know how old Benjamin is at this point. All right. But when it comes to Dothan in the well, right? What do y'all see in the midst of that conversation between the brothers? Yes, Leah.
Like one of them are trying to like even say at the same time not. Like they don't want to hurt their brother. They're trying to get the
Hey, yeah, good. So they don't want to necessarily, well, Judah said, let's not kill him. Let's just sell him because he's our blood. So it really wasn't even to not kill him. It was, what do we gain from it? Yes.
one brother.
Yes. All of them wanted to kill him at first. Then Reuben said, shed no blood. They don't really listen to Reuben anyway. So, and then Judah said, let's sell him. So Reuben's looking out for who? Yes. You think that Reuben's looking out for Joseph? Yes, Mom. Okay.
I think he's just trying to get around. He already knows he's not the best.
He's looking out for himself.
Yeah, because he's trying to get brownie points. You know, he's not the best. He's not the best child.
Remember, right now, Reuben is in the doghouse without a roof. Because he slept with his stepmother. He slept with somebody who was not supposed to be touched. So Reuben is on the outskirts. So now he's saying, remember, didn't it say, let us throw him in a ditch. And then Reuben's thought was, I'm gonna come back and get him. So Reuben's thinking about himself. Judah is thinking about what? Judah's thinking about money. Now, remember that for the next chapter. But Judah is thinking about money. And the others just want to get rid of him because they think about themselves. So there's no brotherhood at this point. Even amongst those who are saying, well, let's kill. They only agree on one thing. We don't want Joseph. Everything else, anything else is I don't really care about you either, necessarily. But at this point, we just got a comment in it. So while everybody's thinking about themselves, meanwhile, life is still going by and none of their plans work. Obviously, he's not dead. Reuben couldn't get him, and Judah ain't getting no money. So this chapter is the condition of Israel right now. Our fathers don't see, or if they do see, is skewed. They see what they want to see. They judge only when it's convenient for them. You don't hear any mothers talking in this chapter, do you? You don't hear Leah talk. You don't even see Leah's name. Bilhah is in the doghouse too, because she did what she did. Zilpah, you don't hear any mothers. Same thing we did today. We have silenced the voice of our mothers. So we've silenced the mother. The father speaks, but he's lost. There's no brotherhood and no sisterhood. There's conspiracies to murder. There's envy. There's pride. Are we talking about the book? Or are we talking about now? Because in 2022, it's the exact same thing. How could we not get tossed into captivity? At the end of this chapter, both Judah and Israel, right? House of Judah, house of Israel. By the beginning of next chapter, neither one of them are no longer in Canaan.
They are no longer.
They are no longer in the promised land. They started in the promised land. United. Everybody was good. We just ran through, killed Shechem. You got gold, I got gold. You got cattle, I got slaves. Everybody good at the beginning, right? They are in the land that was promised to them. Now, with all of this going on, neither one of them are representing the nation of Israel or in the land, Israel or Judah. They are both in captivity, but two different captivities. And now let's talk about the two different captivities. Let's go to chapter 38, Akem.
Chapter 38. It came to pass at that time that Judah departed from his brothers and visited a certain Adulamite whose name was Hirah. And Judah saw there a daughter of a certain Canaanite whose name was Shua. And he married her and went into her.
Okay, those two verses, right? Remember, you said, young man, you said Judah only wanted money, right? Okay, that was his mindset. How do we know that's his mindset? One, it says he went down, right? So he left. That means to descend. The word is Yerad, right, Mom? I believe it's Yerad, which means to go down or to descend. This is talking about his mentality. So his mental, Judah's mental went from a righteous mentality down to what it is now. Now, how do we know it's about money? So his buddy, his friend, Terah, his name means noble or one of a noble family. It's talking about nobility. So he went to hanging with people who got money, and then he married what? He married a Canaanite whose name means wealth. What, Mom?
Nothing. Go ahead.
He married a Canaanite whose name means wealth. So now you have, he leaves his brothers, right? He leaves that which he's supposed to remain with and goes down or mentally descends into a place where he is creating covenants only with nobility and wealth. That's his thought process. This type of captivity that Judah is in, Judah is a mental captivity. Judah's not getting beaten. Nobody told him to go that way. He did it himself. And in this captivity, right, the worst kind of captivity for man is one where the chains are invisible. He extended himself to nobility, because that word to go toward, right, means to extend or to stretch out. Like the Most High said, and with a stretched out arm, I came and got you. Same thought. So he extended himself to nobility and made a covenant with wealth. The mental captivity is tricky because it doesn't matter what you obtain in the physical. The satisfaction from it will be short-lived and will be a source of trouble more than it is of comfort. So Judah is about to gather a lot of stuff, but all the stuff that he gathers is about to be the source of a lot of discomfort. Continue, Akem.
Verse 3. So he conceived and bore a son, and he called his name She conceived again and bore a son, and she called his name Onan. And she conceived yet again and bore a son, and called his name Shalach. He was at Kezib when she bore him. Then Judah took a wife for his firstborn, and her name was Tamar. But Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of Yahuwah, and Yah killed him. And Judah said to Onan, go in to your brother's wife and marry her, and raise up an heir to your brother. But Onan knew that the heir would be not his. And it came to pass, when he went in to his brother's wife, that he admitted on the ground, lest he should give an heir to his brother. And the thing which he did displeased Yahuwah. Therefore he killed him also. Then Judah said to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, remain a widow in your father's house till my son Shelah is grown. For he said, lest he also die like his brothers. And Tamar went and dwelt in her father's house.
Okay, hold on. So at this point, Can you do a charge right quick? So Judah is getting sons. He has a wife. He's getting sons. The family is growing. But for some reason, everything that he just gathered is being taken away from him. He got 2 sons and now 3 sons, and 2 of them are dead. But he doesn't see why they died. His thought process is not my son. The police knock on your door every day. Excuse me, ma'am. We caught your son sticking popsicles in his pants. Not my son. 5 years later, excuse me, ma'am. We caught your son outside of the police station. He was running past us with a ski mask on. He was running past us with a ski mask on the back. Money was flying all out of it. Not my son. Excuse me, ma'am. You see this tape right here? We have your son on tape in the alley.
Not my son.
Not my son. You see the ID he just dropped out of his pocket? We got his ID right here. Not my son. This is Yisrael. We don't want to believe that our children are wicked. So whenever the opportunity for us to correct the matter comes, we're going to turn the blind eye and say, not my son, not my daughter. It can't be my children. I raised them better than that. Really? The same thing that's going on. I got you, I saw your hand. The same thing that's going on in his father's house that he just left, he's continuing the cycle. What, Aki?
So Ken, you're hitting on all cylinders. So I wanted to point something out real quick, right? So if you go back up to verses 5, when you look at when you start to look into the Hebrew, diving in deep into the words, especially in Hebrew, the place that he was at throughout this whole entire time, even though his sons, if you look up their names, they could be prosperous, right? All of their sons can, and I'm just kind of summing it up. But the place that they were at, Kezeb, it means falsehood. It's a lie. So it's the perception of the mind of where the individual was at, that everything, even what's his owning, it means strength, vigorous, but it's a lie. It's a false image that you're placing before you, which is interesting because that's actually the same type of verbiage that they seen their brother Joseph. They call him a Baal dreamer, basically, which is a false dreamer, even though his dream did essentially come true. It's just a matter of the perception of whether you're going to take heed to it or not, lean on the creator, and perceive that if this is true, it's going to stand. If not, it's going to fall. And most of the time, we put ourselves in the picture and we see that our dreams fall because we're not letting the creator be the foundation thereof. Henceforth, that's why 2 of his sons out of the 3 died. They didn't stand because his faith wasn't there. But I land my plane.
I like the aspect of being in a state of falsehood, because that's what we are now, right? We know as Israel what situation we in, what we taught our brothers, and even some of delusional Israel, and we'll say we're free. I ain't in no captivity. I can go wherever I want to. I got my passport. What you talking about? I got money. I ain't struggling. It's a false sense of security or a false sense of strength. Means to be watchful, as in wake up, to be awakened. And the last son, Shalak, means a petition, as in please hearken. He did, because that one didn't die. So now he goes and he makes a covenant. He makes a vow to Tamar that you go back to your father's house, and I'm gonna make sure that when my son get bigger, you good. What, Aki?
Verse 12. Now in the process of time, the daughter of Shua, Judah's wife, died, and Judah was comforted and went up to his sheep shearers at Timnah, he and his friend Hirah, the Adulamite. And it was told Tamar, saying, look, your father-in-law is going up to Timnah to shear his sheep. So she took off her widow's garments, covered herself with a veil and wrapped herself, and sat in an open place which was on the way to Timnath, for she saw that Shalach was grown, and she was not given to him as a wife. When Judah saw her, he thought she was a harlot, because she had covered her face. Then he turned to her by the way and said, "Please let me come in to you," for he did not know that she was his daughter-in-law. So she said, "What will you give me, that you may come in to me?" And he said, "I will send a young goat from the flock." So she said, "Will you give me a pledge till you send it?" Then he said, "What pledge shall I give you?" So she said, "Your signet and cord and your staff that is in your hand." Then he gave them to her and went in to her, and she conceived by him. So she arose and went away and laid aside her veil and put on the garments of her widowhood.
Okay, pause right there. So he gave away what? He gave away his staff, his signet, and a bracelet. Yes, Mom? You said what?
It was his ID, like we got pictures that showed that that was him. He gave away his ID.
Okay. So in this state of being, right, and you look at celebrities, or that's the higher level, but you look at us nowadays, we will trade in our identity, our substance, and our role of leadership for a temporary sense of comfort, lust, and desire. So he traded in everything that was of him for something that wouldn't last. Something that he didn't even know. And we're doing the same thing now. Keep going, Aki.
Verse 20. And Judah sent the young goat by the hand of his friend, the Adulamite, to receive his pledge from the woman's hand, but he did not find her. Then he asked the men of that place, saying, "Where is the harlot who was openly by the roadside?" And they said, "There was no harlot in this place." So he returned to Judah and said, "I cannot find her." Also, the men of the place said, "There was no harlot in this place." Then Judah said, "Let her take them for herself, lest we be shamed. For I sent this young goat, and you have not found her." And it came to pass about 3 months after that Judah was told, saying, "Tamar, your daughter-in-law, has played the harlot. Furthermore, she is with child by harlotry." So Judah said, "Bring her out and let her be burned." When she was brought out, she sent to her father-in-law, saying, "By the man to whom these belong, I am with child." And she said, "Please determine whose these are, the signet and cord and staff." So Judah acknowledged them and said, "She has been more righteous than I, because I did not give her to Shalach my son." And he never knew her again. Now it came to pass at that time for giving birth that, behold, twins were in her womb. And so it was, when she was giving birth, that the one put out his hand, and the midwife took a scarlet thread and bound it on his hand, saying, "This one came out first." Then it happened, as he drew back his hand, that his brother came out unexpectedly. And she said, "How did you break through? This breach be upon you." Therefore his name was called Perez. Afterward, his brother came out who had the scarlet thread on his hand, and his name was called Zerah.
Okay. So when are you going to recognize that the way that you're living is only leading you further and further down the hole? Right? So that word there, where when he had to look at all of his pledges, is nakar, which means to recognize or to discern. So this is the first time that in this place that he's able to discern what he's supposed to be, or what identity he gave up at the beginning, who he truly is. And it's only at that point was he able to acknowledge wickedness in himself and righteousness, and then turn back towards it. This is the only time that's the last time that you hear him speak. And the next time you see Judah, he's where? He's back with his family. So we all have to go through that journey in life where we are able to discern for ourselves what we're supposed to be, who we're supposed to be, and get back to it. we were already in a valley or in a pit. But you're only able to get out once you recognize where you are. So he had to recognize that in his mental captivity in order for him to leave the place where he's at and then go back to where he should have never left. That's the mental captivity that we're in. But we're so comfortable in this false state of security that we won't get up and move back to righteousness. So that's Judah. Now we got to go to Israel. Go ahead, Akem. Chapter 39.
Chapter 39.
And we almost done, Yellow D. Don't go to sleep yet.
Now Joseph had been taken down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, brought him from the Ishmaelites who had taken him down there. Yah was with Joseph, and he was a successful man, and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. And his master saw that Yah was with him, and that Yahuwah made all he did to prosper in his hand. So Joseph found favor in his sight and served him. Then he made him overseer of his house, and all that he had he put under his authority. So it was from the time that he made him overseer of his house and all that he had, that Yah blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. And the blessing of Yah was on all that he had in the house and in the field. Thus he left all that he had in Joseph's hands, and he did not know what he had except for the bread which he ate. Now Joseph was handsome in form and appearance.
So hold on real quick. So Yisrael, was everyone taken into captivity, into Babylon or here or whatever? Not everyone, but let me ask this. Were both the righteous and the wicked taken into captivity? Okay. So how can you distinguish the two?
Because their actions, the way they carry them.
Favor. I like that word. I'm just letting you talk, Iman. I hear you. I'm going to let's go to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 24. I like that word favor, so we're gonna come back to it. Jeremiah, Yirmiyahu, family called Jeremiah, chapter 24.
Yirmiyahu, family called Jeremiah, chapter 24, starting at verse 1. Yah showed me, and there were 2 baskets of figs set before the temple of Yah, after Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had carried away captive Jeconiah, the son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, and the princes of Judah with the craftsmen and smiths from Jerusalem, and had brought them to Babylon. One basket had very good figs, like the figs that are first ripe, and the other basket had very bad figs, which could not be eaten. They were so bad. Then Yah said to me, "What do you see, Jeremiah?" And I said, "Figs, the good figs, very good, and the bad, very bad, which cannot be eaten. They are so bad." Again, the word of Yah came to me, saying, "Thus says Adonai Yahuwah, El of Yisrael, like these good figs, so will I acknowledge those who are carried away captive from Judah, whom I have sent out of this place for their own good into the land of the Chaldeans. For I will set my eyes on them for good, and I will bring them back to this land. I will build them and not pull them down, and I will plant them and not pluck them up. Then I will give them a heart to know me, that I am Yahuwah, and they shall be my people, and I will be their El. For they shall return to me with their whole heart. And as the bad figs..."
Man, hold on, Aki, hold on. So the Most High said, the Most High said that I will acknowledge for good the ones that I want to drive out of this place. So even though you're still going in captivity, but don't worry, when you're in captivity, when you're taken, right? Because Judah went down himself, Joseph was taken. It's a difference. So when you're taken into captivity, don't worry about what you're going to do in captivity, because I'm going to be there with you and acknowledge you in captivity for your good. And I'm going to look upon you with favor or mercy and I'm gonna bring you back to this land. I'm gonna plant you, so that means I'm going to establish you where you are. And you're gonna have that understanding of me. So that's the key part. So even in captivity, you'll know the difference because one is always going to acknowledge the Creator. And one is just going to be living. One's going to be moving in a way that righteousness is always upheld, even though they don't understand it at first. Most of us outside of little middle section, we weren't born into this. So we had to come to the understanding of it and acknowledge it. He said, I will give them understanding to acknowledge me. So you were just in church or wherever you were doing things that would lead you on the road of righteousness until you acknowledge it. And it's like, dang, this is me. That's the Creator. I'm his people. And now I'm going to turn back with all of my heart, which means my mind. So now my mind is going to be fixated on doing what he told me to do. And then for the bad figs, Akem, verse 8.
Verse 8. And as the bad figs, which cannot be eaten, they are so bad. Surely thus says Yahuwah, so will I give up Zedekiah, the king of Judah, his princes, the residue of Jerusalem who remain in this land, and those who dwell in the land of Egypt. I will deliver them to trouble and to all the kingdoms of the earth for their harm, to be a reproach and a byword, a taunt and a curse, and in all places where I shall drive them. And I will send the sword, the famine, and the pestilence among them, till they are consumed from the land that I gave to them and their fathers.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
I'm gonna make them a horror and evil to all the kingdoms. People not gonna want you to move in their neighborhood. I don't want to see these Negroes in my neighborhood. Dang, they just bought a store right next to us. Good gracious. A proverb, a byword, and a curse. You acted like them black people. It's not a good thing when it's spoken here. Most of the time it has a negative connotation to it. Black in general means death. So a lot of us are walking, a lot of us, because anyway, we still are one people. A lot of us are walking in this part of the prophecy. I'm gonna make you a curse to all the kingdoms, a byword, a proverb, a disgrace. Disgrace. Well, I don't even want you to have my name on you no more. Don't tell them you're a part of my family. When they ask your last name, say X. You're not a part of my family. And I will send the sword, the famine, and the pestilence. Those are the three things the Creator always sends for his judgment. Yes. I ain't heard what you say?
And then ask for love.
I didn't hear you, baby girl. But oh, what are you telling me your last name, baby girl? Don't tell them where you live in. All right, but sword, famine, and pestilence. So the sword, of course, nowadays is what? The gun, right? We shot down in the street or we kill, so on and so forth. So violence. The famine, you're going to be hungry. And pestilence, you're going to be diseased. So if you see a community that's plagued with those three things, that's the Creator's doing. There's violence, there's hunger, and there's sickness. When you look at our people, there's violence, there's hunger, and there's sickness. That's the Creator trying to get your attention. Okay. What?
I was gonna say it, but we're still living in that we're still living in Kazeb. We're still living in that false mentality that everything is good. Everything is straight. I got money, I got cars, I got clothes, I got a pair of J's on. All of my necessities, quote unquote, are made. Even though the food that you eat is plaguing you. even though there's gunshots around the corner, but that's how I go to sleep. You know, coming from the streets of New York myself, it was tranquil to hear those gunshots. I moved down to Virginia, quiet. Couldn't even sleep. Sounds crazy. But moving from that state of chaos to that state of peace, it's almost like a culture shock. Because the Most High is bringing you out of a situation. Most High is bringing you out of a situation to where he's trying to weed those things out of you to shock you. That's that wilderness. To remove those things again that are false. To bring you to something that actually is concrete so you stand on. What's the, dang it. What's that, Tehillim 41? Where it says, Most High brought you out of the Mari pit and placed you on solid ground. Okay. So that's what the Most High wants to do. Shake you up, get your mind out of this false mentality, place your feet on solid ground. But there's something that we have to do. We have to acknowledge the fact that this thing that we've created for us is false. And the only thing that is true in our lives is the Creator. So that's where we got to lean on that, place our whole heart and trust into that. Because a lot of times, another thing we do is we do it partially. It's like we'll place a percentage of our trust into the Creator and still lean on ourselves or lean on those things that are still false. Now you're lukewarm. And that's a complete abomination to the Creator. He will spit you out. So, I like my plan.
You know how dysfunctional you got to be to where you need chaos to be in peace? Just going back to people can't sleep without gunshots. You know, what's wrong with your mind to where you need people getting shot in order for you to be relaxed? Don't be a menace to South Central. I know y'all don't watch those movies because y'all holy, but it was a part in the movie where he was like, I love the smell of gun smoke in the morning. And that's a lot of our people. We wake up and if we don't see, okay, go ahead, Coach.
I was gonna say that that becomes normal. Kind of comes back home. I first got that way, I was just like, everybody relax. Then now when I go back, I relax. I'm quiet.
Okay. And that's how we should be as a people. Should be seeking that peace.
Okay, go ahead, boy. I saw your hand. You sleepy too. Okay, but that's just the culture that we live in. I mean, well, I'll leave that for after service. All right. So let's go back to Bereshit 39 or Genesis 39. Yes, ma'am. I told her, Mama.
Verse 8, but he refused and said to his master's wife. Verse 7, speak up. And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast longing eyes on Joseph. And she said, lie with me. But he refused and said to his master's wife, look, my master does not know what is with me in the house. And he has committed all that he has to my hand. There is no one greater in this house than I, nor has he kept back anything from me but you, because you are his wife. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against Elohim? So it was as she spoke to Joseph day by day, that he did not heed her to lie with her or to be with her. But it happened about this time when Joseph went into the house to do his work, and none of the men of the house was inside, that she caught him by his garment, saying, lie with me. But he left his garment in her hand and fled and ran outside. And so it was, when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand and fled outside, that she called to the men of her house and spoke to them, saying, see, he has brought in to us a Hebrew to mock us. He came in to me to lie with me, and I cried out with a loud voice. And it happened, when he heard that I lifted my voice and cried out, that he left his garment with me and fled and went outside. So she kept his garment with her until his master came home. Then she spoke to him with words like these, saying, the Hebrew servant whom you brought to us came in to mock me. So it happened, as I lifted my voice and cried out, that he left his garment with me and fled outside. So it was, when his master heard the words which his wife spoke to him, saying, your servant did to me after this manner, that his anger was aroused. Then Joseph's master took him and put him in the prison, a place where the king's prisoners were confined, and he was there into the prison. But Yah was with Joseph and showed him mercy, and he gave him favor in the sight of a keeper of the prison. And the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand all the prisoners who were in the prison. Whatever they did there, it was his doing. The keeper of the prison did not look into anything that was under Joseph's authority, because Yah was with him, and whatever he did, Yah made it possible. HalaYah.
Hallelujah. So we got a question. We just read that obviously Joseph isn't wicked. He obviously upholds the command of the Creator even before there was a written command. How many times is gold dipped in the fire before it is completely purified? Is it once? It's a couple times, right? Okay. I don't have an exact answer, so don't be looking for it. Because it's either one or many. It's one or the other. It's either one or multiple. But it's not just one time, right? So I say that because those who are quote unquote righteous, when we are in captivity, right? The Most High, Joseph went up at home, then he literally got thrown in a pit. Then he went up, then he got thrown back down, now he in prison. Then he gonna go up again, right? And that's it. So at least twice he was thrown down. The same thing is happening to us. There are experiences, there are trials, there are tribulations in order for you to be purified. Joseph was supposed to be a leader, right? He got the dreams that he's supposed to be a leader. But there were things, gold is dipped 500 times in the fire. Y'all see that? Look, told everybody. Y'all see that? We get answers. Anyway, gold is dipped 500 times in the fire. So imagine, and didn't the Most High say that I pulled you out of the furnace of affliction? As gold is tried, so are my people. Okay, so that means, I ain't gonna say 500 exactly, but you're gonna be tried a lot of times and put in the fire a lot of times because you're not perfect yet. But the Creator said that you shall be perfect. That was a command in the book of Deuteronomy. He said, you shall be perfect. You shall be before me perfect. So that means that these trials, these tribulations, and everything else, you can't run from it, or you will never be perfected. You will never be purified. So Joseph he has to go through a period of maturation, because what he was doing at the beginning of his story is not going to be applicable to him leading all of Egypt and all of the nations around him. Remember, at the beginning, he wasn't working. He was supervising, right? He was the one on top. Now he's in a position, yeah, he's supervising, but now he has to be humbled. So Joseph is being humbled in order for him to be able to know what to do and how to do it when the time comes. If you don't go through what you're supposed to go through, you'll never be ready for what you have to do later. And a lot of us are running from elevation. You're running from what the Most High is putting before you in order to take you to another level. But you wonder why you're still stuck at the same level. Why are you wondering? Go to where he's telling you to go to so he can take you to where he needs to take you. Because if Joseph would have stayed cocky, he would have stayed in prison for the rest of his life. Probably would have been killed if the Most High's favor wasn't on him. But the only reason you have favor, right? And New Test, y'all hear the pour on grace like gravy? Y'all heard that before, right? Pour on grace like gravy. That doesn't work. That doesn't work with our Creator. You don't have an unlimited amount of favor. Yes, Mom.
You gotta also look at it that he didn't go to the prison where the commoners were.
Hey,
He went to the king's.
hey.
So even though he was in prison, he was still shown that favor. Because they didn't put him in the prison with common. They put him in the prison like where the that served the king and
Yeah.
His higher uppers. So that's where he was sent. That within itself was.
I mean, because if you're royalty, right, and the Most High is putting you, if the Most High is training you for a position, in every aspect of your life, you're going to be surrounded by that position and bits and pieces of that position that you need. So if I'm calling you to be a leader, most of the time, you're going to be around leaders, even if you're not one. David was king, right? But before he was king, he was just playing the harp inside of the
With Saul.
inside of the palace. To the point, Saul didn't even know his name when he went to go battle. He's like, who is he? No, I've been playing the harp at your house every day, B. How you know? Who is he? Yo, you see me every day. Every time you got your little demon squirt, I'm the one in there playing. You don't know me? But he didn't know him. But it wasn't for you to be known. It was for you to get the experience. Just because he put you there didn't mean that you're going to rise up the ranks there. That means that you're going to know how to do it there. So when I put you where I need you to be, you got it. So are we really paying attention to our surroundings? Because we should be. Yeladeen, you're not common. You're not typical. You're in a set apart environment. Not for you to go outside and be common. Because the people are looking at you because you are, quote unquote, or you set apart, right? With them little things on your shirt. Because they make joke, but they look at you as a leader. And you're in here to get the nuggets that you need in order to lead the next generation. But you're not going to do that by compromising. None of our leaders compromise. Moshe didn't compromise. Daud didn't compromise outside of messing with Bathsheba, but she was on the roof, and I was lonely. Anyway, most of our leaders don't compromise. They may fall like Daud did, but they get back up and keep on pushing. That's the same thing y'all got to do. Because they looking at y'all to lead them, not the other way around. But anyway, back to Yosef. HalaYah. But the aspect is called preparation, right? Todak Akem. The Most High is preparing everyone in here for something. If you're still alive, you still have a purpose. So you should be looking for, what are you preparing me to do next? Or what have I not done now in order for me to go to the next level? So that's what Joseph is getting right now. He's getting preparation. All right, we got one more chapter, and that's it. I promise. It's not long. We can go right through it. You say what, Amir? Wake up. I'm just playing. I know Taylor, she's snoring. She's got slot. Can you just tap her real quick? All right. Bereshit chapter 40, Akem.
Chapter 40. And it came to pass after these things that the butler and the baker of the king of Egypt offended their master, the king of Egypt. And Pharaoh was angry with his two officers, the chief butler and the chief baker. So he put them in custody in the house of the captain of the guard, in the prison, the place where Joseph was confined. And the captain of the guard charged Joseph with them, and he served them. So they were in custody for a while. Then the butler and the baker of the king of Egypt, who were confined in the prison, had a dream, both of them, each man's dream in one night, and each man's dream with its own interpretation. And Joseph came in to them in the morning and looked at them and saw that they were sad. So he asked Pharaoh's officers who were with him in the custody of his master's house, saying, "Why do you look so sad today?" And they said to him, "We each have had a dream, and there is no interpreter of it." So Joseph said to them, "Do not interpretations belong to Yah? Tell them to me, please." Then the chief butler told his dream to Joseph and said to him, "Behold, in my dream, a vine was before me, and in the vine were 3 branches. It was as though it budded. It blossomed, shot forth, and its clusters brought forth ripe grapes. Then Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes and pressed them into Pharaoh's cup and placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand. And Joseph said to him, this is the interpretation of it. The 3 branches are 3 days. Now within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up your head and restore you to your place, and you will put Pharaoh's cup in his hand, according to the former manner, when you were his butler. But remember me when it is well with you, and please show kindness to me. Make mention of me to Pharaoh, and get me out of this house. For indeed I was stolen away from the land of the Hebrews, and also I have done nothing here that they should put me into the dungeon."
Most High ain't tell you say all that. He ain't tell you put in a bid for yourself. You're just there to plant the seeds so that Yah gives the increase. He didn't tell you plant the seed, water it, and then be digging in the soil trying to see if it's growing real quick and then put the soil back. Plant the seed, water it, and Yah gives the increase. Because you're looking for man to do what only Yah can. You're looking for man to save you, where Deuteronomy 28:68 said, and no man shall
buy or redeem you.
No man shall buy or redeem you. So here in this captivity, there will be no man's philosophy that's going to get you out of this. Ain't no march on Washington, ain't no million-man march, ain't no reparations, not yet. Ain't none of that coming to you until you do what Yah told you to do. And he just said, plant seeds of righteousness. And he's going to give the increase, and then everything else that you're looking for is going to come, right? Seek first the kingdom of Yah, and all of his righteousness, and all of these things will be added unto you. So then that happens, and then what happened, Aki?
Verse 16, when the chief baker saw that the interpretation was good, he said to Joseph, I also was in my dream, and there were 3 white baskets on my head. In the uppermost basket were all kinds of baked goods for Pharaoh, and the birds ate them out of the basket on my head. So Joseph answered and said, this is the interpretation of it. The 3 baskets are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift off your head from you and hang you on a tree, and the birds will eat your flesh from you. Now it came to pass on the 3rd day, which was Pharaoh's birthday, that he made a feast for all his servants, and he lifted up the head of the chief butler and of the chief baker among his servants. Then he restored the chief butler to his butlership again, and he placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand, but he hanged the chief baker, as Joseph had interpreted to them. Yet the chief butler did not remember Joseph, but forgot him.
Because he wasn't supposed to remember you. Yeah, I know you were just trying to get right. And so was the cupbearer. Stop looking at someone else's blessing and thinking that you deserve the same thing.
Right.
Oh, you won on that slot machine, so as soon as you get up, I'm gonna go on that same slot machine. And as soon as you go over there, this one wins. And I'm not, advocating gambling, people. We don't gamble, okay? No, not advocating gambling, but no. So what the cupbearer did was expose his heart. His heart was, only if you can do something for me, am I going to open myself up to you. Only when I see that you're beneficial to me, am I going to be nice. That's who he was, and that's what he got. So the Most High will repay you for what your heart is. Whatever you are, that's what you're going to get. I believe it's in Psalms, the Most High said, Most High said through his servant Daud, right, that you are merciful to the merciful, You show favor to those who show favor. And this is my words, but he said the same thing. But then you get nasty with those who are nasty. You rude to those who are rude. You take away from those who take away. Whatever you are, for the Most High is not reap, nor mock. Whatever man soweth, that shall he. Okay, y'all ain't got to read the other side of the book to know whatever you sow is what you're going to read. So in this particular portion, right, because that's in the portion, I promise and I deliver. All right. The aspect is family, and then what type of captivity are you in? For the fathers, are you actually able to understand and discern what's going on in your household? And then be able to correct it. And if the mother's there, actually have her voice being heard. Because if you're the only person speaking, then your house has an imbalance. And your children see the imbalance. The only reason the boys were fighting because the mothers were fighting. They were fighting since they were born. What, mom? What? Since I was born, I saw you fight with my mama over who gonna stay in daddy tent. To where you asking me for mandrakes and I just came out the field and now my mama talking to you nasty. So if she don't like you, I don't like your son. If y'all two can't get along, we not gonna get along. If the parents are chaotic, the household is chaotic. Sorry. So if you're wondering why your children act crazy, you ain't got to go too far. It's you. You ain't got to go to the school board or none of that. You ain't got to check out none of their friends. It's you. It's you and whatever dynamic your household has. I'll just leave it at that. Go ahead.
Okay. I was going to say, which in turn would look like in today's time, some people would call that a curse, a perpetual curse, right? Of something that's passed down from obviously generation to generation. So the question is, who's going to be that link in the chain to break that? Who's going to be that link in the chain to when it's like, you have anger in your family, right? Pointing at myself first. You got anger in your family. Or some type of issue in your family. Anything, right? Who's going to be that link in the chain to be like, okay, I recognize the situation, I acknowledge the situation, because that's what the Most High calls us to do as well. Being acceptable and having that ownership of the faults there is. Giving it up to the Creator and actually to turn and make a difference and start to do things contrary to the popular belief. Or the status quo, whatever word you want to put there.
A curse is nothing but a reward for dysfunctional behavior. We don't have to mystify it. It ain't got to be spooky. You're cursed because you're dysfunctional. The Creator said, if you're functional, you get increase. If you're dysfunctional, you get decrease. It's very simple math. Ain't no stats, ain't no exponents. It's very simple. Your children are dysfunctional because you are dysfunctional, and you got that dysfunction from your father and your mother, and it went all the way up the line. And the only way to break the dysfunction is to understand it, acknowledge it, and then change it. And stop living in a false state of, I'm righteous, and I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't done anything wrong. When you never acknowledge that you're wicked, how can you turn from it? And by the way, just for the record, right? Nobody in scripture ever called themselves righteous. You're not going to find it. So just by you saying that you're righteous, you're wicked. Unless y'all can find me somebody in scripture who called themselves righteous. and were actually righteous. Because I remember the prophet saying that, man, we have sinned against you, Yah. We have sinned against you, Yah. That's what I remember the prophet saying. So then what captivity are you in? Are you in a mental captivity to where you can't get out your own way because your thoughts and the things that you're feeding yourself from your mind are continuously leading you down the path of curse or dysfunction? Or are you in the captivity where the Most High shows you favor and he's maturing you in order to bring people out of captivity? To place you in a position of where you're actually where you need to be, so when everybody else is in want, you're the person who can supply that need. Because we know where Joseph ends up. We know where Joseph ends up. But are we willing to go through the steps in the preparation in order to be there? Everyone wants to be righteous, but nobody wants to go on the journey. Everyone wants to be Mashiach. Everyone wants to be who we read about in scripture, but not go through the process of being purified 500 times? 500 times. Yeah. Yisrael, we got work to do. And only those who acknowledge the fact that they're imperfect will actually do the work to not only perfect themselves, but help others get there. So with that, I say HalaYah, all praises to the Most High. Thank y'all for your attentiveness. And I open the floor for any questions, comments, or statements, and then we're going to wrap it up and pray out. HalaYah. Are there any questions or comments?
Almost got bad before. So.
He's a goofy. HalaYah.
Okay.
You got okay.
I got some. Okay, HalaYah, first and foremost. Toe blessing the dome, toe blessing, as always. Very, very edifying, very thought-provoking. Still, like I said, keeping it in the season of dedication. I'm looking at the story, right? And I'm looking at the ups and downs that Yosef was going through. And despite everything that was going on in his life, I'll use the prosperity in his life as a catalyst, right? In his prosperity, he never took his eyes off the Creator. So he was dedicated to where, and again, he had the opportunity to, I would say, take everything in Potiphar's house. I'm gonna keep it PG. He had the opportunity to take everything in his house, but he did not. And again, I'm in that season where things have to get relinquished in order for growth to happen. So that's where the true focus and dedication comes into play, right? He was that focused to where he relinquished everything that he had, the position that he had, to still keep his eye on the prize, which is the Creator. So it just gives more of a testimony for what we should be doing in days like these, where you do have Potiphar's wife always chasing after you. Hey, come, yo, let's go over here. And that is a daily grind. It even says it in there, yom mayom, day after day, this was happening. So he's getting almost tormented with the aspect of having to fall away from his Creator. But again, he was that dedicated to where he didn't let it get to him. He stayed focused, stayed vigilant. Scripture tells us to endure. All right? Are we enduring during these times? That's what it really comes down to. Going through the pain, getting past through the fire, going through that aspect of affliction. And when times get too rough, that's when you have to lean on, of course, the Creator, but you lean on your Akem, Akutim, brothers and sisters, those that the Most High placed in front of you or with you to help you during those times. Because He will always, always, always give you an outlet. And it'll be His outlet, not man's, not yours, His outlet. You have to have the foresight to see it and not be blinded by your own false perceptions. With that, I yield. Shabbat shalom again to all.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, I think it was a total blessing. One thing I was thinking about is the good and the bad the Most High puts in our life. For example, if someone gets sick, that sickness can be a punishment, chastisement. We know the scripture says that the Most High chastises those that He loves.
Amen.
Or that sickness could be a test to help build them up to be a strong man or woman for the Most High. So I give all praise to the Most High for putting that on my spirit, my ruach. And like I said, it was a total blessing.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
I should did this at first, likely. Ima, you got something you good, Mom? Well, that's why I didn't do it, because you don't never want to talk to us anyway, but I just got to do it just to make sure. But brothers, y'all good? Yeah, you first, you the front, and then I'm gonna talk to your brother.
Yeah, I mean, it's been blessed everything you guys talked about. Especially what really stood out to me was the purification process, which is going for something, thinking of how much you get through this hurdle, and this smooth sailing into them. It's a continuous 500 step of purification every time you get gone through it. Every time you go in that hole, you're mad. Why this? Why me? Why I keep dealing with different situations that feel the same? As far as how it's working in you, the pain, the suffering, the long suffering. So even though it's a different situation, but it has a common denominator.
Okay.
So, and then you just like, this is not going to stop. So I mean, that was kind of blessed.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
So that you're right. Fire gonna be hot regardless of where it's at, huh?
Right.
The gold don't say, oh yeah, this a new type of fire. No, it's still burn. You go ahead, Akem. Okay. Hallelujah.
Like pointed out of Judah leaving his father, and then having a unmerciful judgment on the woman. And it said the woman sent the message to his father. It said they sent the message to his father-in-law, which is Israel. Then that's when Judah was able to see himself. So a lot of times we think we're battling one another, we think one against each other, and just say, send a message to the Father. The Father's always willing to reveal it, to his sons. It's not always that we need to battle directly, but we can battle indirectly, keep ourselves sane. We go crazy trying to battle directly. We should send the message to the Father. Let the Father reveal, to our brother, what's going on. So I just like that. And then he brought up that then after that, Judah with his father, just so much confidence that we should have in knowing that God's going to do. Instead of what you brought out, false sense of security, thinking that you can do it yourself, that you have to do it yourself, you have to fall on yourself. It won't get done if you don't do it. So many different deceitful things, exalting ourselves as a savior, when we're supposed to just sow the seed, water it. It's interesting how the woman was able to sow the seed. I never saw that verse. You know, that he was able to sow the seed and then call the fatherless. I think that he wants to do that now. He wants to deal with us directly.
Amen.
He doesn't want all of us to try to face each other, but he wants us to sow the seed, water it, then follow the Father to deal with each one of us.
Amen. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Yeah. Akem, brother, you good? Yeah, good. Okay. All right. I'm not calling on the sisters because I know y'all gonna speak up. Yeah, y'all gonna talk without raising your hands. So never mind. Anybody else? Everybody else good? Hallelujah. Okay. All right. Look. So this what goes on. So we're about to close out. We're about to pray out. And then y'all don't have to go home, but you do gotta get out for a second, just so we can set up everything in here for the gala. And then it'll start back at 5. Unless you do want to help set up tables and stuff like that, that's cool. But outside of that, if everybody can like shift, right? Is that okay? Yeah. So if you do want to help, that's cool. If not, it starts at 5. If y'all do want to go home, take a nap, then come back. Huh? Oh yeah. Okay. Definitely, especially for those who drove in. Y'all go take a nap, come back at 5. But for everybody who's here in Virginia, y'all not going nowhere because y'all gonna help us work this out. All right. Outside of that, let us go ahead and stand so we can pray out. Hallelujah. Let us stand and face Jerusalem. Yeah. Hey, excuse me. Are we going to just pray out? It'll be real quick. I promise I'm not going to do a 10-minute prayer. Let's face the east. Hallelujah. 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 Our King, our Elohim, our everything. You are wonderful. You are the potter and we are the clay. You are the creator and we are the creation. You are our Father and we are your children. First and foremost, forgive us for our sins, our transgressions, and our iniquities. Those that we have committed before your face and those that our forefathers and foremothers committed before your face. That we may approach your throne, Nabiyah, and you not turn your face away from us. But you hear our cry. As we are crying out, Father Yah, asking for healing, asking for your forgiveness, asking for you to gather us, Father Yah, for your favor to once again be towards your people. Father Yah, we pray that if we are in a mental captivity, Yah, if we are in a mental stronghold, that you may break it, Yah, for only you can. That our fears, Yah, may be removed and replaced with faith. That our doubts, Yah, may be removed and replaced with trust in you. That whatever hate that we have in our hearts towards our brothers and sisters, that it may be removed and replaced with love. And we may once again care for one another. That our households, Yah, but that is the foundation of a nation. That our households, Father Yah, are being restored. That the fathers and the men of the household understand that to be the head means that they are the greatest servant. That they may serve their households, their children, their wives, Father Yah, by leading them in the way that you desire. For if the household must pray, Father Yah, let the man pray. If the household must fast, let the men fast. If the household must repent, let the men repent. But we are the head. May you strengthen our women, Father Yah. May you give them a voice that is heard, Yah. May the wisdom that you placed in them, Yah, manifest and be expressed in the household. That it may be heard, as Sarah was heard, as Abigail was heard, as Raquel was heard, as Leah was heard, as Rivka was heard, And the nation, as Zipporah was heard, and the nation was saved because of it. May their voices be heard. May the children of Yah see righteous examples. Even when we are in turmoil and the household does not always agree, Father Yah, but let them see a righteous resolution to problems. Let them see what it means to have love, even through disagreement. That we may show that to our nation, and that the next generation may be better than we are. May you just be with us, oh Yah. Guide our steps. Be a lamp unto our feet. That we may follow you as our forefathers did with a cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. That we will not move, Abiyah, unless you move. And that we will not stop moving until you stop moving. May you barak this day, Abiyah. Those who are calling upon your name in spirit and in truth, may you keep us protected, Abiyah. Not only here, not only the ones under the sound of my voice, Abiyah, but throughout the four corners, your children, who you said that you would acknowledge, and that you would show favor towards, and that you would plant them and not uproot them, Abiyah. That we may no longer bring disgrace to your name, Abiyah, but honor and esteem as it is due. Baruch atah Yahuwah, Baruch Hashem Yahuwah, Baruch haba Hashem Yahuwah. Increase be unto you, Yah. Increase be unto the name of Yah, and increases be upon he who comes in the name of Yah. And may the children of Yisrael, the children of Elohim say, HalaYah.
HalaYah. HalaYah. HalaYah. HalaYah.
Always a pleasure to see y'all up here. Takuma, we gonna build. I'm sorry, Yahoo. You already know what it is. We're gonna get together, fam.
Shabbat shalom, family.
Shabbat shalom.
Uzi getting nice with that reading too.
Shabbat shalom.
Huh?
That Uzi
Yeah.
getting nice with reading.
Yeah, ask him what was that. Ask him what was that.
I want shalom, shalom.